Netflix's Extremely Wicked, Shockingly Evil and Vile has dragged the serial killer Ted Bundy back into the spotlight. The Zac Efron-led flick focuses on Bundy's relationships, but it doesn't explain what happened to his daughter, Rose Bundy. Here's what we know about her mysterious life. Rose Bundy was conceived while her father was in prison, which is notable considering that conjugal visits reportedly weren't allowed. In the docuseries Conversations with a Killer, the Ted Bundy tapes, Ted's wife Carol Ann Boone reveals that the prison guards didn't really care much about the couple's prison romps. Extremely Wicked, Shockingly Evil and Vile depicts the conception as a steamy rendezvous behind a vending machine. To make things even more scandalous, Boone reportedly started getting intimate with Bundy when he was still technically with his longtime girlfriend, Elizabeth Klepfer. Boone and Bundy married when Boone took the stand to defend Bundy on February 9, 1980, thanks to the help of a legal loophole.
Public declaration, properly phrased in an open courtroom in the presence of court officers, constitutes a lawful marriage here in Florida.
Indeed it does.
Boone truly believed that Bundy was innocent, but when the truth eventually came out, she felt betrayed and shocked by his confessions. She divorced him in 1986 and reportedly denied his last phone call before his execution in 1989. Boone met Bundy while they were working together at the Washington State Department of Emergency Services in the mid-70s. She visited him in Utah, where he was eventually arrested. Then she moved to Florida so that she could be closer to him during his trial. Eventually, everything would come full circle for Boone and her daughter. Boone and Rose moved back to Washington State after Ted confessed to killing 20 women. But there's still a lot of speculation and conspiracy theories about what actually happened to the mother-daughter duo. The Life on Death Row message boards, a breeding ground of serial killer conspiracy theories, claim that Boone might have changed her name and moved the family to Oklahoma. Others say she married again, which could mean that Rose had a father figure in her life who wasn't a mass murderer. Depending on the source, Rose Bundy was born in either 1981 or 1982. This puts her at about 4 or 5 years old at the time of her parents' divorce and 7 or 8 years old at the time of her father's execution. It's unclear how much Rose knew about her father at the time. After all, how does a mother explain to her child that her dad is a serial killer who's about to pay a visit to the electric chair?
You know that future you saw for us? The one with the house and the dog and the car?
Rose certainly never knew her dad outside of a prison because he was never on the outside during her lifetime. In fact, she may not have known about him at all until she was much, much older. Furthermore, she may not have ever had any contact with him, especially because her mother reportedly didn't visit him in prison in the last few years leading up to his death, though there are some unverified photos of the trio floating around online. Despite her potentially traumatic origin, it seems that Rose Bundy is actually doing well in adulthood. This is according to Ann Rule, who worked alongside Bundy at a suicide hotline and wrote the book The Stranger Beside Me, the shocking inside story of serial killer Ted Bundy. In a revised 2008 edition of the book, she wrote, "I have heard that Ted's daughter is a kind and intelligent young woman, but I have no idea where she and her mother may live. They have been through enough pain." On her website, Rule added, "All I know is that Ted's daughter has grown up to be a fine young woman." No one knows publicly where Rose Bundy and Carol Ann Boone are currently residing. What we do know is that Rose is probably using a pseudonym to avoid living in the shadow of one of the most dangerous criminals of all time. According to The Sun, it's believed Boone changed both her own and her daughter's names. One big reason that so little is known about Rose Bundy is the fact that Ann Rule, who wrote one of the most in-depth novels about Ted Bundy's life, left the family alone completely, both for their well-being and her own. As Rule wrote, "I have deliberately avoided knowing anything about Ted's ex-wife and daughter's whereabouts because they deserve privacy. I don't want to know where they are. I never want to be caught off guard by some reporter's question about them." And so much of Rose Bundy remains a mystery, perhaps for the best. Check out one of our newest videos right here. Plus, even more Nicki Swift videos about your favorite stars are coming soon. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell so you don't miss a single one.